I call to order the Township of Aleppo workshop meeting of July 12, 2021. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How do you call the roll?
Commissioner Darrow,
Present.
Commissioner Richard,
Present.
Commissioner Haluka,
Present.
Solicitor Stone,
Here.
Manager Patterson.
Here.
Do we have anybody calling in to be in the meeting?
Art is supposed to call in.
I'm on the phone. I'll let you know.
All right, well, it's not on the agenda, but I would note, as we always do, that this meeting is recorded and live streamed, so keep that in mind. I have a motion to approve the legislative meeting minutes from June 21, 2021.
Motion to approve the June 21st, 2021 legislative meeting minutes.
And do you have a second?
Any discussion or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a guest presenter, Mandy Steele, regarding coal tar sealant.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Mandy Steele. I'm a Fox Chapel Borough Council person and mother of 4 little kids. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about coal tar. I provided some information to you from the USGS, which is a federal agency, and a copy of the ordinance that we enacted in Fox Chapel in last year. And that ordinance, it prohibits the application of coal tar in our municipality. Now I go around and talk to our neighbors about what coal tar is and how dangerous it is to their residents, and ask them to do the same in their own communities. Coal tar is a waste product from the coking process. It's not a manufactured product, it is actually a waste product that can be applied to asphalt surfaces, not roads because it flakes off too quickly, but it's applied to playgrounds, driveways, parking lots. And what happens is that it flakes off into microscopic particles. It sticks to the bottom of your shoes. It gets tracked into your house where it becomes part of your house dust. You then ingest it when you eat food that's sitting out. It goes into your liver, binds with your DNA, and some of the evidence out there suggests that it causes cancer of the large organs. It's also a primary component of our air and water pollution. Because it flakes off, it gets washed into our water supply every time it rains. This is a product that is not available to your residents in a store. You can't go out and just buy coal tar. If you want to seal your driveway and you go to Home Depot, what you would buy is an asphalt-based sealer, which is much, much, much safer. It looks the same, it works the same, it costs the same, it's the same efficacy. But it's not a tier 1A human carcinogen like coal tar is. How it comes into our communities is when an individual hires a sealing company and they buy it from a regional distribution center. So the idea with this approach is that if we get all of our communities together to ban the application of coal tar in their municipalities, that regional distribution center will not carry it, and the problem is just alleviated for us. Because coal tar can't be transported very far, it does come out of one regional distribution center. That's why we need to act on this together. Many states have already banned it. It's banned in 13 states. New York State banned it at state level just a couple of weeks ago. Pennsylvania is a coal state, so we are going to be probably the last to the table on banning it at state level. That's why the USGS is trying to get this information out to us, so that we can take action and protect ourselves from this incredible, incredible threat that is lurking. If you see someone, if you guys are non-smokers and you see someone smoking a cigarette, you can walk around that person to avoid the smoke. You don't know when you're coming into contact with coal tar, but it's on 50% of our surfaces here in southwestern Pennsylvania. So you're coming into regular contact with this stuff. What questions can I answer?
What do you do with the coal tar if it's not used as a sealant?
It has to be disposed of in some kind of hazardous waste facility. I don't know the exact name of the facility, but it's a special place. You can't just put it in the trash.
I think residents would want to know the price comparison if they're contracting with the ceiling company. You know, is there gonna be a big price increase then?
Yeah, so no, they're nearly the same. Asphalt-based ceilings are right now a tiny bit more expensive, but it's such a small difference that you wouldn't even feel it if you were paving a parking lot or a driveway.
Are they readily available? Is it readily
They are,
available?
yeah, readily. Yes, much more available. Again, your residents can't go out and buy coal tar, but they can go out and buy asphalt-based sealer anywhere, Home Depot, Lowe's, any home goods store.
So what's the advantage of people using coal tar? Like, what's the push to use it?
Why do people still use it?
Why would they want to, given that you're saying that they're basically equivocal from a cost perspective, the risk benefit is completely unequal.
Yeah,
Why would anybody seek to use coal tar over, I mean, it has to be some positive there that we're missing.
yeah, so, well, that's part of what I do, is go around and talk about this stuff, because we're just not aware of it. You know, you hire someone to seal your driveway, you have no idea that you should be saying, I want asphalt versus coal tar, because that's a tier one, you know, a human carcinogen. So it's education. Again, homeowners won't be able to tell the difference at all.
Okay, but
Why do
my
some
question is,
ceiling
what's the
companies-
advantage of using coal tar?
I'm thinking no one's actually like, I want
There's
coal
not.
tar. They're just like, hey, I hired this
no,
contractor
I'm not
and the
saying from
contractor's
us.
just doing it.
What's the
Contractor.
advantage of the
Yeah.
contractor using it? Like, why is it out there?
Why
if
do
it's so
contractors
negative?
still
Yes.
use it? That's a good question. Listen, I don't have an answer. You know, a lot of these guys, generally you find with a reputable ceiling company, they are not using coal tar. They don't go anywhere near it. They've had people years ago who got sick, very sick from it, and they already know about this. The people that are still using it, you know, they grew up using it. Maybe their dad had a ceiling business and they were raised on this stuff and they believe in it. You know, it's just, unfortunately, some people, even when presented with this overwhelming evidence from our scientific community and the medical community, it's difficult to dissuade them from their loyalty to products like this. My husband's a psychologist. We can call him and ask for his analysis. I'm just kidding.
We don't have that time.
Yeah.
So who is our regional distribution center?
It's a company called, let me think. Sealmaster is the name. Yep, I think that's ours. I think you're the same. So Sealmaster sells both asphalt and coal tar, but if the demand falls away for coal tar, they don't carry it. They just carry the asphalt. That's how this model works, and it works well. As far as legality, Harlan, I see you looking at me critically. Just kidding.
No, I'm,
Yeah, so I've got a statement from Penn Future. I'm sure you know who they are. They do incredible work in Pennsylvania. We are entirely with our rights to ban the application of a substance like this because it has not yet been reviewed at the state level. Once it's reviewed at the state level, then we need to, you know, follow the state's lead. But as of now, municipalities are free to, you know, our primary responsibility as council people and commissioners is protect the health and welfare of our community. This is one that we need to act on. And I'll tell you that I go around now just because I believe so strongly in not exposing people to this stuff that nobody even knows about. Nobody even knows we're coming into contact with this stuff. I'm sorry, it's just so crazy. Every time I see a kid in their driveway drawing with chalk on the asphalt, that's a 1A human carcinogen that they are drawing and sitting there breathing and touching. It's outrageous. So I do this, I take time away from my own family and drive around all over the place and
I
talk
know,
to
I've seen
people. You've seen me. Yes. And there are very few communities who don't act when given this information.
I'm sure. Can you name some who have recently, along with Fox Chapel?
Yeah, I mean, Harley can talk about it a little bit, but, you know, yeah, I can send you guys a list, but Mount Lebanon, Aspinwall, O'Hara, Hampton, Shaler, you know, I've been talking to, I was supposed. Osborne, yeah.
Glenn Osborne.
Glenn Osborne. So, I mean, it's.
The area, the subject matter is not preempted by the state.
Not at this point.
It's not, no.
Not yet.
We're hoping we'd be ahead of the curve, I suppose, in that regard. But you said it's not regulated by the state came back and said we're not regulating it, would our ordinance then be sort of null and void, is that how?
As
Then
far as
there
I
would be
understand,
a-
I'm not an attorney, so
Yeah.
I'm really speaking out
That's
of
just-
turn,
it would
but
just sort of
yes.
fall off
And
in that way.
I'd like to send you
Yeah.
Penn Futures statement as well, so you
Okay.
can see that.
Sure.
But yes, if for some reason, this was examined at state level and they said, oh, this, we're not going to ban this, that would be so unlikely.
Right.
But if that happened, then yes, I believe that your ordinance would be null and void. Again, that's not gonna happen, but.
Worst case scenario, just, I guess, for the record on
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
Okay.
What other questions?
Across the state at this point, how many municipalities have already adopted this?
None. Fox Chapel was the first in the state. If you would adopt this, you would be the 16th in this state. So after I'm done working in this area, I'll be zooming into the communities that surround Philadelphia. I plan to go southwestern Pennsylvania, then Philadelphia, and then try, once we show how much support there is for this, try to push it through at state level. And I think we'll get there, but it'll take a while, and I need some help if you're interested. Join me, because it's just me right now. But, when I go in and talk about this stuff, people they're mad, and they want to take action. It's also a very easy thing to do, because there's, nobody is making this for application to driveways. Nobody is hurt by this. The sealers just use the asphalt sealer, kind of a win-win. And your community will love you for it too. Put it in your newsletter when you do it. They'll be happy. It's a crowd pleaser.
And you said, what, 13 states have already
It's banned in
addressed it?
13 states, yeah.
So that seems to be picking up
Yeah.
momentum, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been, the first, let's see, there was a first community in Texas. The first community that banned it was in Texas, and that was a while ago. It's where the coal industry is, so it's this half of the country. It's the eastern half of the country. It's not in the west at all. But, I'm available for questions. I'll send you that Penn Future opinion. Happy to answer them, happy to talk more.
Are there any state legislators that are on the bandwagon with you?
I'm not there yet. I really want to show a grassroots support. We have the authority to do this kind of stuff, to protect our communities. Let's use it. What are we in these chairs for, if not for something like this?
I appreciate your passion, thank you, and you'll forward us that
Of
information
course.
then.
Yeah. Please send questions along that. We'll talk coal tar any
Sure.
day.
I
Gwen,
think-
thank
I
you so
think,
much
Sure,
for helping me
sure.
get here.
Thank you very much.
But I think acting chair Dara would tell you that typically we won't act on anything same night as the presentation. So obviously, this is something that we would not consider until next.
Got it.
Till next month.
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Thank you.
People may want to do a little homework before we actually act on it.
It's out there. Yeah, just type coal tar into your search bar and it's there. There's a lot. You'll be pretty convinced if I haven't done enough
Well,
tonight.
Mandy, thank you for taking time away from your family. and
Thank you.
Tell us about this.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it, everyone.
Mhm.
Nice to
Thank
see
Thank you. You have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Stay safe.
I'm gonna not stay for the meeting if that's okay.
That's okay.
Well, we have any old business?
Nothing's come up since the agenda came out.
Okay. New business. Why don't you go ahead and remind us what this,
Sure, this is the Monyac Schreiber subdivision plan, and these are two neighbors, adjoining property owners, who are trading a small piece of property. So they butt each other, and one's cutting off a little section and trading it to the other neighbor. And it was reviewed by HRG and the Planning Commission, and they both recommend approval.
can I entertain a motion to approve?
You have a motion to approve the Monyac Schreiber subdivision plan as noted.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. have a property complaint with regard to 241 Weber Road.
We do. I didn't know if anybody wanted to talk on it, but I know all the commissioners, and I received a complaint from a resident about the condition of the property at 241 Weber Road. There's been ongoing complaints about this property. This is certainly not the first complaint that we've received. Over the years, the property has looked in varying states, sometimes worse, sometimes better. But we've gotten complaints consistently about this property for years from a lot of the residents up and down the Weber Road corridor. And the police are working, the unregistered cars and the cars that are falling apart, that's a police issue, and so they have issued citations. And the property owner has been to the magistrate, been found guilty on some of those, and then newer ones were filed again this week because they still haven't moved. And then there's the property condition, then we have for the stuff in the yard. And we do have our code enforcement official here, Jeff is here tonight to answer any questions about what the township's able to do.
Is any of this biological, Gwen, or is this just all? I guess, is there a health safety issue? Is it garbage or is it stuff?
It's, I would say, based on the pictures and not being an expert, it's a lot of stuff. I don't know about, if I couldn't categorize it as biological or not, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looked like stuff to me, not like, what I would categorize as biologic would be food, waste, anything that would cause, rodent, bacterial stuff, because you can go two different directions with that. You can go Jeff's way with non-biologic and health and safety with biologic.
That's the issue with the property maintenance code. It is a life and health safety code.
Right.
It's not a pretty code like some people would want it to be. I did start looking at some of the pictures, and from some of the angles, the pictures I could not use in court because it looked like they would be a violation of the homeowner's Fourth Amendment rights. So I stopped looking at them. I do want to go on my own and try to get from various positions and talk to some of the other neighbors if I can be on their property, get affidavits or them signing a letter giving me permission if it does, and when it goes to court probably, that we've had permission to do that. It's just, when we first saw the pictures, talked with Gwen about it, and then unfortunately, I went on vacation, so I did not have time to follow up on that, so that's where we're at with it right now.
Jeff, have you issued any violation notices for the property?
No. I sent a letter a few years ago about cleaning it up.
No, but nothing recent?
Nothing recent, no.
I just asked because sometimes I know when we work together, you send out the notice of violation, the property owner sometimes will respond to that by calling you or calling Gwen and saying, can you give me some time? I
Right.
just, you know.
And exactly, and I would be grateful if he would do that. And actually, last time I did send him a letter, there was some movement, not the best, but there was some attempt, so we were, okay, he's working on it, let's not harass him and let's just let it, see if he can get it cleaned up. And lately, it has not been much.
Is this an abandoned house or someone residing there?
It appears to be abandoned.
Okay.
It appears that he's moved out and living, and from the stories I've heard, he's living with his parents somewhere. That no one is living there as far as.
That takes that angle off the table as well.
Yeah, we have, the history is, we have violation notices in my file as early as 2012, and I think there might be even older ones in the book that, before I started realizing I needed a file on this particular property, so.
So the only thing is if we're.
Multiple violations over the years of letters saying, please clean up, and you get a little bit of action, and then it starts to accumulate
Right,
again.
well, that's not unusual with these problem properties. The one thing I would mention is the old notices of violation, don't usually hold up because it's like, well, what was going on here
Right.
4 years ago isn't relevant to what's going on today. So if you
Yeah,
are
I would
going,
need to get out.
if you are going to cite him, then you need to go out and you need to send out a recent notice of
Correct.
violation based on the current conditions.
Correct.
And then follow through with that. And if you need help from me,
Yeah, right. So,
And I'm new, so, but, and, you know, haven't gone through this process with this property yet before, but you stated, you know, sometimes we issue a citation and then there is some movement. How do we protect ourselves or make sure there's enough movement? Is it, okay, got it. Copy that. Okay, so just,
that's his job.
got it, okay. I just don't wanna fall into the same cycle.
right.
You know, that
And
we
it-
seem to be
Yes,
in.
you know, and it's like after I sent one of the notices, I went down one day, there was like 4 or 5 people working on the house, doing some work and cleaning things
Mm-hmm.
up. And I was like, oh, static, you know, things are
Yeah,
happening and,
okay.
you know,
What is the process if looks like it's been abandoned? I mean, you can have all the citations you want issued to an abandoned piece of property, nothing's gonna get done.
Well, that's a whole different question.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, there is a process for dealing with blighted or vacated properties. And for the first level is under the property maintenance code. If it's abandoned and it becomes structurally unsound, you can condemn the property and you can tape it. You know, you see the yellow tape around properties, and that means no one's allowed to go in it. If it gets worse, you can actually go through a demolition process if it really becomes bad. So, you know, initially the code provides for a condemnation, which means you seal it and you prevent anyone from inhabiting it. And then if it becomes more of a problem, like it's going to collapse or it's going to fall on somebody, then
That's a very long process. Huh?
yeah, well, no, not necessarily. You can condemn and you can actually demolish or raise property that's an imminent threat of collapsing fairly quickly. But it's got to be that bad, and
Right.
Jeff's got to be willing to certify, or some engineer has to be able to certify that it's imminent that it's going to collapse
Yeah, this doesn't
and hurt somebody.
Well, if it's abandoned, who's the opposing party that would fight the determination that it should be condemned and raised?
Usually if it's been abandoned, nobody, but you do have to notify any mortgage holders or any banks or anybody who would have a lien, because their lien interest can be affected. So they might come in and say, well, we'd rather fix it up. I've never seen that happen, but theoretically, a mortgage company could come in and say, rather than demolish it, we're gonna come in and we're gonna take over and we're gonna fix it up.
This sounds like it's uninhabited but not abandoned. I mean, it sounds like we have an active owner here, am I right?
yes,
Previously.
there is an owner.
Yeah, so it's not abandoned, it's just
It's like, yeah,
uninhabited.
he's
It's
just
just
not
vacant.
living there at this time.
Okay,
It's just vacant.
yeah, that's
Right,
different.
it's not abandoned, it's vacant.
But to Commissioner Dara's point, if it were to be abandoned, but literally, then yeah, you could go through a condemnation or you could go through a demolition.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Aleppo is part of the blighted where through the county with the back.
Yeah, that was gonna be the other one. Yeah,
Okay.
so the county does also have a blighted property program. And so, if it gets to the point where you feel this is fits the definition of blighted property under their program, you can always refer it to them and they will take it over. But again, that's a process. There has to be notifications have to go out. The owner would have to say, you know, I'll walk away from it, and then the county would take it over. And they do a pretty good job. Although I understand that program may not be well funded right now, so I don't know what the status is of the county's blighted property program.
And it is lengthy to deal with one in McCandless right now.
Yeah, so that's.
So our first
If
step
the
is really.
property's not occupied and the imputed owner's not willing to do anything, does that constitute an abandonment?
I'm not sure what the definition, I'd have to look at the code, I'd have to look at the ordinance and say what the definition is for abandonment.
I mean, I'm asking these questions, my sense is that Jeff can write all the mean and nasty letters he wants, that's not gonna do anything.
Well, the process will be, I would write a letter, I would give him so much time, and then once that time is expired, excuse me, then I would file citation at the magistrate. And I can keep doing that for however long.
Now, those can get
Sure.
appealed, those can be appealed to common pleas court, but as a practical matter, and I don't know, Jeff, what your experience is, but my experience is that you go to the magistrate, you get the magistrate to cite the property owner, he imposes fines, interest, penalties, and can also impose a per diem fine for each day as a separate occurrence. And we did that not too long ago in Glen Osborne with a property, and the property owner is still paying every month through the magistrate on those fines. So,
Did the property get fixed?
that's a good question. I don't know whether he fixed up the property or whether he just is paying the fines. I can't answer that, Dan. I don't remember, honestly.
Too much process, not enough results.
Well,
But I think we have to start, right? I mean, you know, it sounds like there's a lot of avenues once we get going
Right.
that we need to stay on top of, but we have to start with some initial notifications.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. As soon as possible, I'm sure.
So for now, you're gonna proceed with gathering your information?
Yeah, I wanna get on, yeah, I'll go start my investigation, get my own pictures and talk to some of the neighbors, see if I can get on their properties, take pictures from their properties, build my case, send my notice out that he's in violation of, depending on what, if there are, you know, if it does fall under a life and health safety code issue, I can send letters out, notices of violation, and he's in violation. You know, I have to give him some, you know, it's usually 30 days to start doing something, or have him contact us and say, can I ask for an extension, or things like that. And if nothing is done, then we file a citation through the magistrate's office and then go that avenue and go from there.
yeah, but the best thing is to get a conversation going, if you can, with the property owner, because, like, to your point, that's the quickest way to resolve the problem, is to get the attention of the property owner and have him make a commitment. Even if it means working something out over time,
Right.
you're better off doing that than just getting fines that are never going to be paid. And the other thing, Dan, Commissioner, a lot of people don't realize this, but there is a process for going directly into court and getting an injunction and that orders the property owner to make the repairs, but it's the same problem, because the ultimate stick is or incur fines and penalties of up to a certain amount, and then the court can set the amount of the fines and penalties, but it leaves you with the same problem.
Have to get the property fixed.
Exactly.
Yeah, pictures I saw, it does look quite a mess.
All we can do right now is have Jeff proceed.
Sure.
Do you need a motion from us to do that?
That's his job.
Yep. We'll take care
All
of it.
right. Any further questions for Jeff? Thank you.
Well,
Citizen participation, do we have anybody, Jerry?
Yes. Thank you for, Jeff, thanks for your time on this. I'm the one who filed the complaint. I'm sure you realize that. I just wanted to emphasize the fact that, and Gwen obviously has documentation to that effect, that this has been an ongoing issue. This just didn't happen last year or 2 years ago. This has been years that we've had to look at that property. So I would appreciate very much if something could be done immediately, but by the same token, follow up, because like you said, if nothing is done and 2 years goes by, then you have to start from square one again. So, and I know the history of this young man, the gentleman that's there. That place has not been lived in for years, maybe 3. My understanding that I would not even enter the place if I had to look at it to go purchase it. It needs raised. There's considerable mold in the place. That's already been documented from someone else I know that went in the place. That's hearsay on your part, on my part, to let you know that. But it's uninhabitable. It's absolutely uninhabitable, and it would need torn down. So I don't know what you can do to send information to the homeowner to fix up whatever needs fixed, because frankly, there isn't anything that needs fixed. It needs removed. But I would
So
implore you.
that's sort of the catch-22.
Yes, I understand.
Because
I completely understand.
unless we can get an engineer,
I
and
understand.
even Jeff can't make that.
No.
But unless we can get an engineer in there to see what needs to be done, we can't even.
Right.
So it's a problem.
But the first part that you can probably do is the material that's around there. There's a lot of trash. I would bet you can find some rodents in there. You talked about, biological hazards. There's no garbage because nobody lives there, so they don't produce any garbage. But I would bet in all the mess that's behind the place and in back of it, right off the back porch and behind it, there's just debris everywhere. I can't imagine that there aren't rodents inhabiting some of that area. And I haven't specifically been on that property recently to notice anything like that. I do see it from the road, and I do go by it a lot. And I don't live there. I mean, I don't live up in Aleppo anymore. I live in Swickley, but I do own property right across from it. So that's why I issued the complaint.
Do you know if the owner has a job?
Yes, he's self-employed. He's a landscaper, kind of. And he comes up about once a month and cuts the grass. That's all he does there. That's all that's done there. Nothing is done there. He moved the car. Somebody must have, either the police or somebody must have said something about a vehicle that was there for probably a year and a half. Had flat tires. He came there probably about 3 weeks ago or so, put air in the tires and moved it. I don't know how he moved it because I didn't see it, how he moved it. I don't know whether he pushed it and moved it from one side of the property to the other. But that vehicle is, there's no inspection sticker, current inspection on it, so that vehicle is illegal. On his property, however, but there's a truck there, there's a dump truck there that's growing, he has debris in it, and it's like a garden. So there's an abandoned dump truck between the garage and the house.
So does
It's
he?
just rusting.
So does he sort of use that as a place to store materials and stuff from his landscaping business?
I've seen the garage door open every once in a while. I don't know what he has in there, but I know he comes up with his trailer and his the lawnmowers and things, cuts the grass, turns around, and I have seen the garage door open, but I don't know what's in it. I don't know.
No, I'm just wondering about the stuff that's being dumped or stored there now, where it's coming
Is it
from.
a result of his business?
Yeah, is it
No,
part of
I
the
don't.
business?
No, I don't think, because there isn't anything there right now that's new. That's all just like, it's garbage. It's basically, like an old refrigerator or an old lawn furniture.
They're just looking
and-
for multiple angles.
Yeah, I know.
We're gonna explore everything.
I appreciate your help on this. I know it's a difficult task, simply because it's been going on for so long. But I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention, and I hope hope Jeff can move on a little bit, and I'll keep in touch.
Okay.
Please do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it
Jerry.
so much. Thanks.
Paul, do we have any need for an executive session?
No, not that I.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:35.